Going good, man. Just did my last check on baby girl, and she is out for the count. And that's it helps doing these interviews at in the evening. So I appreciate you having this time, man, to chop it up with me.
Sir.
Sir, how was your day so far, man? Like how's it been?
So this morning, man, it was productivity all day, man. It was good. It was good. Got some stuff knocked out. Since I talked to you, man, I'm getting ready to go into trucking also. But part of that is having my vision right, because your boy need glasses, not because I can't see, but so I can pass the DOT joint. So yeah, I went and took care of that this morning. Just yeah, got a lot of stuff knocked out. How about you, bro?
Hey man, first of all, shouts out to you for doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no shame in diversifying your skill set, you know what I'm saying, and like doing some other things, man. So I commend you on that. My day's been productive, man. The thing is, last night I had an overly productive night, and so it kind of extended into this morning. You feel what I'm saying? So I was a little groggy, during parts of today, just pushing through. But the good thing is the work I put in last night gave me an opportunity to, be able to like take it easy a little bit today. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more I just think about, man, the future and like the potential for income and actually being able to employ others. Bro, like it was necessary for me to work in the corporate field for us to work, but bro, that ain't it, bro.
It's not it for
Like,
you. No?
like no, like I was just thinking about it, man. Like looking back, I feel like time was wasted, but it was a lesson. It was preparation. You have to be under some terrible management and some good management to become a good manager. You know what I mean? You got to be able to differentiate. So it was
Man,
necessary.
that's a word right there. That's a word right there. I have that conversation with myself regularly, it seems, man, and it's those same thoughts that you just shared. It's like, I look back on the time I spent in a career that, I was not fond of. And, that was for me at least 10 years, you know what I'm saying? And I think back like, wow, if I would have done these other things or leaned into what I was really interested in, how could things be different? But to your point, there was definitely gems that I picked up from working under poor management, but then also working under great management, working outside of an industry that, I really have a passion for, kind of forced me to zoom in on those gems that I needed to collect from that experience and leave everything else, you know what I'm saying, essentially. Um, so yes, you know what I'm saying? I like to try and end on that thought, you know what I'm saying? Like where it's the triumphant side of things where it's like, yeah, it was tough and it wasn't the most enjoyable, but I can see now, especially, as a business owner, how I'm applying those lessons that I learned, you know what I'm saying? Um, and it reminds me of like a previous interview that I had too, where I was talking about work ethic, you know what I mean? And that's where I developed a lot of the work ethic that I have now was from some of those experiences, that were less passion driven, but more like, okay, I'm here because I'm earning a living and I'm learning these skills and I want to be successful in this job, career, whatever, regardless of whether it's in line or I think it's in line with where my future will take me. You know what I'm saying?
I think for me, I don't try to speak for other people. I have a habit of forecasting and projecting, but for me, bro, just let's talk about trauma and how it plays into one's psyche. Like, for example, I'm gonna make that a little more clear what I mean. My father was an entrepreneur, not his whole life. And my father's still living. He's 71, 72.
Shouts out that.
But I watched my father when I was young. He was a correction officer. I watched my father dabble in cosmetology. I watched my father work at a group home. I watched my father in all these other different industries. And then 1987, now he was painting with his uncle here and there. You know, we both know painting is seasonal work. And when we moved to Charlotte, he started his own painting business. And so since we moved to Charlotte, my dad didn't work for anybody else. I was 10 years old. So this is a pivotal time. You know, 10, you kind of know a little bit of something, but you know.
Yeah.
But what I did notice was when the money wasn't there, that was quite obvious. And so I watched my father as an entrepreneur, as a young first-time entrepreneur with no mentorship, struggle. And for me, man, I tell everybody, like, that's what has really slowed me down and made me go so hard on that corporate side and be the best I could be in somebody else's joint, because the last thing I wanted was to struggle. And so that's what held me up for all these years. So now I'm 40 plus years old. I've had great managers. I've had terrible managers. But all along I've had the gift, but scared. Just being transparent, fearful. But there just comes a time, man, where you gotta risk it for the biscuit, baby.
Hey man, real talk. And I appreciate you being, vulnerable and sharing that with me, man, because that's a real thing. Like, I'll say for me as well, you know what I'm saying? I definitely can relate as far as a lot of my ambitions being driven by fear. You know what I'm saying? And, even in choosing the career path that I chose, fresh out of college, that was based out of fears. Like, I need to survive, and this is a opportunity in front of me. So let me take this opportunity, and then figure out the rest, later on, driven by the, security, the false insecurity, but that's that sense of job security, so to speak. You know what I mean? And man, that's a real thing. Like you said, the trauma, for me, it was being raised in a single parent household. You know what I mean? Like, having my mom being the one that carried the weight of having to take on these different jobs to provide for not only herself, but, her 3 children. And so to me, I almost felt bad if I didn't take some of those opportunities, because I felt like it would almost be disrespectful to my mom, if I had to end up spending more time living under her roof than necessary. You know what I'm saying? So it was like option A was take this job opportunity and go make the best of it, or B, stay at home and be a burden to my house, you know what I'm saying, to my mother's household. So that trauma, alone is what I feel has had, definitely some influence on the decisions that I made career-wise as well, man.
So right there, one of the things that I am trying to be cognizant of as a father of young child. So, you know a little bit of my story. I have older kids from my first marriage. They're grown now. I have a 8-year-old from my wife, and she lives in the home with us. One of the things I'm cognizant of is everybody from a child up has some form of trauma, and I'm trying not to compound those, because bad enough if a father is absent, kids gonna have some trauma, but the traumas that I got from a 2-parent household. How about that? And so, let's take it back to the old Black adage: you need to get a job, go to school and get a job. No, I don't know of anybody who grew up with their parents encouraging them in our generation towards entrepreneurship.
Yeah, no.
And so, I have an 8-year-old with a lemonade stand, you know what I mean? So it's on a small scale, but it's a mindset.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And you know what? Daddy influenced her to be able to have that mindset, you know what I'm saying? That's uh inconsiderate of fear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like because unless we give it to them, they won't know it. They won't know. She won't know fear. London won't know fear. Bailey won't know fear unless we hand it off to them. Or if we walk in it, we ain't got to hand it off. How about that? If they see us, because they picking up more than they are acknowledging they're picking up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So they know if you operating in it or not. That's good. This is good, man.
Real talk, man. Real talk. And it's wild that you say that. Once upon a time, like the thought hit me, and I think I may have shared this on like Instagram or Facebook, but I remember I think I was teaching London to rollerblade, right? And you know, she's 5, but this must have been when she was about 3 years old. And I remember just watching her just fearless, just gliding, you know, and there's all these other people in the skating rink just flying past her, and she doesn't even see them, you know what I mean? And I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, you know, we either teach our children to be fearless or fearful. You know what I'm saying? And to your point, you know, they're gonna learn from our actions more than they'll learn from our words.
You know, when you said that about the roller rink and her gliding, bro, Bailey's 3 years older. And if she stands up on the edge of the couch, I'm like, yo, I'm not taking you to the hospital today. Get down. Bro, it's a carpeted floor. Like, what's the worst that's gonna
happen? But I'm glad that you too can catch yourself, you know what I'm saying, in that moment. Cause I have those moments too where I'm like, be careful. First of all, what does be careful mean to a 5-year-old?
Bingo. As long as you watching me, Daddy, what do I need to be careful
Exactly.
of?
You be careful while I jump off this couch. You know what I'm saying? Word, right. You know, but I think, you know, those are some of the things, some of the lessons that, you know, you and I, and I'm sure, you know, this newer generation is learning to unlearn.
I just, it's on time, man, you know, but I hate that we didn't have the advantage. You know, it almost feels like we've wasted decades to get to this point. It's conversations like this. These are the things that we need to be discussing at age 5 and age 8, so that our kids aren't 30 plus figuring it out for themselves.
Sure, man. I agree with you. And it's like, you know, because we are having those conversations now with our little ones at 5 and at 8, that's less for them to unlearn later.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're setting them up like way beyond, you know, maybe the platform that we had started out on, you know what I mean? Like, I remember being a child and wearing the burden of knowing that, you know, we not wealthy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to say we was poor, but we definitely was not like, you know, we weren't middle or upper class. Let's just say that, you know what I'm saying? But I remember like not even asking for certain things because I felt bad about asking for things. You know what I'm saying? Feeling like we couldn't afford it, you know, having that mindset.
That's way too much for a child.
Man, it really is, you know what I'm saying? And
wow.
Growing up like that, you know, with that mind state, it, you know, what it did was, one, it made me more responsible earlier, but there's the flip side to that, you know, which is like leaving childhood too soon, you know what I mean, and not really being able to enjoy like just the carefreeness of, you know, being able to explore things and it be okay and be supported, you know what I mean, like making mistakes and having that be like encouraged, you know, as a part of lessons. And not necessarily something that has consequences of discipline. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's times where London might be doing something that I know is probably not going to end well. You know what I mean? But because I know there's no like serious danger at stake, I allow her to go ahead and do that. You know what I mean? And I can tell like, yeah, man, these girl dads, you know what I'm saying? You know, the life of a girl dad, it's like we want to be the pillow, the parachute, you know what I'm saying? We want to be all of the safeties, you know, for our kids. And it's great that we have that ambition. But, of course, everything is with balance, man. You know.
I was at the eyeglass place this morning, and it's man, it's lessons to be learned in every environment. Of course, everybody's a teacher, right? The world is your classroom. So I'm at the eyeglass place, and the young lady who was assisting my wife and I just felt led to ask her, what do you want to do? And so we go into this girl started listing. She came out of high school with 1 degree. And then after high school, she's got like 2 or 3 already more associate's degrees, 1 bachelor's degree on top of the one she came out of high school with. And now she's in optometrist. She's, going to get her certifications for this and that. But this girl is 22 years old. Now watch this. She talked about the boyfriend from middle school, she was 20, he was 24. And again, there's that maturity thing. So they parted ways.
Sure.
She wanted one thing. She's on this track, bro. She's education. He's a 24-year-old man. You already know he's a kid, and he's no focus, no aspirations. So she's not with him anymore. For the last half a year or so, she's with a grown man. And I said, how grown we talking? I'll switch into uncle mode real quick.
Yeah, me too.
Because when she said 22, it immediately made me think of my other daughters. Okay. 22, she's dating a 40-year-old man. Now, wait a minute. As a dad, you felt exactly what I feel right there. Okay, this girl must have daddy issues. That's the first thing that comes to mind, right? Clearly, she's got some daddy issues. As it turns out, she took this boyfriend to meet her father for the first time this past weekend. She comes from a military background, Christian upbringing in the whole 9 yards, but a strict household. But she's a real girl dad, as it turns out. She's got an active father, and her father loved this man. When she brought him around, they really hit it off. And apparently, obviously, women pick somebody like their father for the most part, just like men pick someone like their mother. But she's found somebody that her dad really likes. So for me, the lesson in that was, just because she's with an older man doesn't mean she's got daddy issues. She's a real girl dad. But because she's such a mature young lady, she can't flow with somebody her age group. But it still seemed a little drastic to me that he was 40, but I'm not God, so.
I feel you. Yeah.
And when she said her dad loved him, I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna back off then. It's all good.
If it's daddy approved, then what can we say, right?
Yeah, I just met you this morning. but as a father, man, like, that's a lot, yo, to watch your daughter with a grown man. But if he about his business, man, and he gonna take care of your child, you want the best either way. So
yeah, and I feel like, as dads too, I feel like, and I haven't gotten to that stage yet. Okay, so this is me projecting how I may feel, but I feel like, I will be able to tell based on my daughter and her level of happiness and what I see in her, you know what I'm saying? Like whether she's with someone that is good for her, you know what I mean? And at the same time, no, one day maybe, I don't know what she'll be into because again, she's 5, but
right.
Hopefully I'm in a place where I can receive, I can
that
be,
part.
you know what I'm saying? I can be like in the right state of mind and place in my own life where I can respect her decisions, you know what I'm saying? Relationship wise or whatever.
It's an honor being a girl dad, bro. It's an honor being a father, period, man. I love my boys. But it's something like once you start to comprehend the duty and the responsibility of rearing children, and then we look at what the options are for women out here as far as the available men, you really that much more want to buckle down and drive their focus as daughters.
That's real, bro.
That's real.
That's real. I'm gonna make a note of that. You know what I'm saying too. Man, this has been a great exchange of course, already. And it always is, Damon. And that's why I appreciate us being able to have this exchange. I mean, when we met, my daughter wasn't even alive. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't even born yet. So it's
Right.
been
And I was a young father.
oh
When we
yeah.
met, I was a young father with small kids back then. So yeah.
So, and even back then, like we were able to connect and I could see like, okay, this is a good dude right here. You know what I mean? And then I also was able to see like at least a piece of the circle, the crowd that you keep. And I was like, man, this is a really solid foundation here of like some real men, doing men things like taking care of their families and also supporting each other as men. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So I respect that, man. And of course that knowing that or and meeting you in that space, it doesn't surprise me that you have later on gone on to develop this Bro Can We Talk series.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So tell the listeners a little bit about Bro Can We Talk and the purpose, maybe the influence of how it even came about, and some things that y'all are shooting to accomplish with that.
So first of all, man, thank you for the platform. Shout out to Face2Face Radio, man. Early on, I would say early 20s, it became pretty apparent to me that I could attract men to me. I could draw men if it was something as simple as, helping somebody move, or, hey, we going to hang out and have wings, watch a game. No matter what it was never a problem for me getting men around me. I think it took some time for me to figure out, of course, still becoming who I am. So, it's one thing to get people in a room. It's another thing to have something to offer them when they come into the room. But over time, man, it's always been my heart's desire to get men better, to get us, not just them, us, get us better. Because I'm always one that's honest and transparent about my own shortcomings, and just not necessarily shortcomings, but areas of them that need improvement. And so through the various phases of my life, going through my first divorce, well, only divorce, because I don't ever plan on being divorced again. My wife and I are coming up on 11 years, but
hey, shouts out to y'all, man. That's a beautiful thing, bro.
To God be the glory, friend. But yeah, man, so just I have a heart to help, man, to take some of the pressure off if I can, that we carry, man. And so society puts a burden on us to have it all together, but there aren't many resources and tools that are attractive for men that don't feel like exploitation. And so, Bro, Can We Talk? What we've created so far is a safe space for men to come in, no microphones, no video cameras, with the exception of my videographer taking some shots for content, without audio, in the snippets that you may see on our Instagram page, which is bro_can we talk. Those snippets, we've always gotten permission from whoever is speaking so that we can post those. But we don't want to exploit anybody's trauma. But there's so many things that affect men that we just supposed to forget about and get up tomorrow and press. And so, from, bro, I mean, when you get men together, one thing is evident is men will talk. Men don't have a place to talk, but men, you go into the barbershop it's not quiet in there.
Not from the time
Never
you get in
quiet.
there to the time you leave. It's not quiet.
Never quiet. Men talk. We just have to have a safe space. And so, we've talked about issues such as trust. We've talked about honesty. We've talked about you name it, man. We've got brothers who have come in and been able to unload things that they've literally never told anybody in their lives. And so think about being a 30, 40-year-old man who, may have been molested or may have been just all kinds of things, man. But to feel comfortable enough to share and get those things out so that you can begin healing and try to pivot and become better from those things. It's been phenomenal, man.
That's awesome, bro. And I really do commend you on assembling that, and taking that first step forward to build that platform, you know what I'm saying, for these men to have this safe space,
Thank you very much.
So how long have you guys been putting this together? Or, how many, just
Sure.
how long?
So our very first, we've been meeting once a month, and our first event was March of 2021, and it really blessed me, man. We had 12 men there, and that's big. I mean, if you put a call out and one person shows up, you got one person that's rocking with you at least.
Absolutely.
So for 11 other men to show up, I knew there was something there. And then bro, I'm again, very first meeting, some of the dialogue that was discussed essentially amongst strangers really opened my eyes to, okay, God, what are we really doing here? This is big. I see the need, and this is special. This is something very special, because this doesn't happen everywhere, where you have a group of men sitting down and sharing some burdens, if I may use that word. So once a month we've had Bro Can We Talk here in Charlotte. So far we've been in Charlotte is where we established, but it's been growing, man. I'll say. And as a leader too, one thing, even as a show host, I know it's all about numbers, but impact is bigger than than numbers, man. And so man, we've had consistently about 25 men the last 4 or 5 times that we've met. We're providing breakfast and just trying to make it as comfortable as possible, man, for the men. So I'm excited, man. Ages 15 and up have been showing up, and it's some heavy stuff, man. Going back to my childhood, you mentioned knowing at a young age and having that burden of knowing that we ain't got it like that.
Right.
I grew up in small town, North Carolina. Shout out to Reedsville. Population of me and a few more.
The only thing I know about Reedsville is that at least at one point in time, you guys had a Belk store.
Yes, that's correct. It may or may not. I'm not sure.
Shouts out to my past employment. Okay. My work life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So I say it, I tell everybody, I've had a sheltered life. And truthfully, it plays into my naivete even to this day. A lot of areas, man, I'm really naive with good intentions. I'm still learning, So small town, North Carolina, age 10, we moved to Charlotte, and I was never in the system, if you will. I don't know struggle. I did not know struggle as a child. 2-parent household, mom held it down. Dad was still learning, former Vietnam veteran and entrepreneur. So he contributed where he could, but one thing we have to realize is our parents were still learning too. And we don't really acknowledge that until we get older. Like, hey, I'm a parent and I don't know everything. So, my parents were learning, but I never knew struggle, man. Were there Christmases where he said, hey, this job didn't come through like I needed it to, and it's going to be a little slim? Yes. But did we have food every day? Yes. So no, I never lived in a mansion or anything of that nature. But I never was in public housing. Not that there's anything against either scenario. I just was kind of always, I guess the term is middle class. My parents were anyway. I was broke because I was a child. I ain't none of them.
Sound like Shaq now.
Right. So, one of the things that my daughter, man, my house is comfortable, but it's enough. It's more than enough for my wife and my daughter and I. But my child, she sees the big baller cribs and she's like, we got a little house. We got a little house. Okay. I see what time it is. It's time for us to take a ride to see some little houses.
You're right.
And that's exactly what we did.
Keep it all in perspective for her.
I haven't heard any of that little house talk since. But no, man. So I've always lived in these bubbles, small town, and then private school. I graduated out of Charlotte Christian High School. Shout out to Steph Curry, man. Pull up on Bro, Can We Talk? My alumni friend, Steph and Seth. But so I've never known a whole lot of things that I'm learning until now, and sometimes it comes out that I don't know them I don't want to use the word unfortunate circumstances, but sometimes you got to bump your head a little bit to learn some things. And I imagine if I was on the outside looking in, like, dude, you didn't know that. So after the fact, I'm like, damn, dude, I didn't know that.
But you know what, man? I respect just your candid, ness and your awareness, self-awareness, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that I have grown into, is my own self-awareness, and being more interested in tapping into the things that don't make me as comfortable, what I'm saying, about myself. Because I've adopted, from young, this fake it till you make it type of like way of moving. And, I can see, or I can tell you from my experience, that has definitely benefited me in some ways, but the issue becomes not knowing when to turn that off.
That's good. That is good. Most people are comparing themselves to others, and we are taught fake it till you make it. And that's so key. I'm glad you said that. I don't know, necessarily when to turn it off, because you get caught up, man. And so for me, I don't even know where it came from, honestly, but it's always been really easy for me to be. I know exactly where it came from. I had to think back, and that's where it came from.
Speak on
it. Keeping it a buck. First marriage, man. I was a cheater. I was a liar. And what I learned was I was a terrible liar. Because as we both know, man, you tell a lie and then you tell another lie to cover up that lie. And there's only so many hours in a day. You got other stuff to do, but now you forgot something that you may have told someone, and that thing starts to pile up, and now you're under, buried yourself. And so it was at that point, man, after my first, I was like, yo, it's really easy to tell the truth and keep it 100 with people. So I don't have, I'm okay not being the big dog in the room. And that's with regard to finances, wisdom. I'm very okay. In fact, I don't want to be the big dog in the room when it comes to finances or wisdom. How about that? So I think it's just been really natural for me since that point, man. to be myself. And it's also been attractive. It's what attracted my wife to me more. The more in our dating, dating, the more that I was transparent with her, the more attracted she was to me, and it didn't scare her off. And so the more it gave me the green light to be more transparent. And the same goes for, when I'm around the men, bro, the term is real, recognize real. The more transparent you are, it shows other people, I don't have to fake it till I make it, and wow, this guy's started this thing, and wow, he's sitting up here and he's keeping it 100 at all times. That's pretty attractive. And it makes people want to be around you more, because now I know that you're a safe place. You find in conversation, when you open up, others open up. And that's just how I am, man. I'm beyond faking it till I make it. I'm going to make it. But I don't want to trip anybody else up by faking.
And you know what? That's a good point, man, because I think it starts with confidence, right? Yeah. Having the confidence to know that you are going to make it, regardless of how ugly, this piece of truth is, what I mean, that you're facing with right now. Just kind of relating to the faking it till you make it. Like, why are we faking it? Yeah. What's influencing or motivating the faking it piece? It's a lack of confidence that if you were yourself, that you could still make it, at least for me, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, when I look back now, it's like I was faking it because I didn't have confidence that if I showed up as myself, that I would be successful.
Right. And then watch this, to piggyback on that. What am I afraid of losing? It's not like I got it all right now. So what's the worst that can happen? You know what I mean?
For me, it was the fear, the fear of not getting to where it is that I say I want to get to. And it's a desperation too, like these are the feelings that's kind of brewing up now when I'm thinking back to why was I faking it till I made it, or felt like I could make it. And it was the lack of confidence, and it was not having that reassurance too in some ways, because man, there's a lot. There's so much that I could just speak on as far as that, which is why I love like talking to people who pull these things out of me. Like you said, being vulnerable also influences others to be vulnerable. You know what I mean? So thank you for that, man. And that's how I want, that's why I'm very appreciative of this platform that I have now too, because, although it is marketed as helping people promote their business, their cause, what it has been turning out to be is really getting much deeper than that, and really getting into the person that, I'm exchanging this conversation with, and myself as well, and so then the business becomes like the afterthought, you know what I mean? Yeah. This becomes, and I feel like this will become the safe space, you know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful for that, man.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I'm proud of you, man. It's a big thing. It's a big responsibility, but it's more of just being that door. Man, I could talk to you all day, man, because of the flow of this conversation. So my pastor, Pastor Michael Roach over at Greater Church Charlotte, one thing that he talked about, room is always bigger than the door. The room is always bigger than the door. And so people are looking for the room, they're trying to get into the room, but we overlook the door that we came through. And there's a lot of honor in being the door, and that's where I see you and your show as being that platform, being that, that bridge that we talked about. And since he said that, man, I've really been intentional about honoring the doorways, and not overlooking the doorways, because you never, bro, like the door always leads into a room that's bigger than it. And if we miss the door, we won't get into the room.
That's a very good
You
point.
know,
I like that anecdote.
we walk by people every day that could potentially have what, they could be one phone call away from the very thing that our business is needing, that our personal life is needing, connections, resources, whatever it is. But because of so many other factors, we beat down with our traumas, you know, kids are acting out, terrible boss, like we already talked about. There's so many things that have people so beat down that we can't even make eye contact when we walk into the restaurant to grab lunch. And I done went on my 30-minute lunch break, mad at the world, and I walked right past the answer. Simple hello, hey man, nice watch, hey man, nice shoes, hey man, you a Panthers fan? So am I. Simple things like this have sparked conversations for me where I ended up walking away with that man's phone number and saying, I'm definitely supposed to be connected. I don't know how, but at some point I know it's supposed to line up. So
that's deep, bro. As you were talking about that, it reminded me of one example that I haven't thought about in a few years, but I remember being fresh out of college, and during my college years, I didn't have a vehicle, right? So fresh out of college now, I am in search of my first vehicle. So I remember, and I was living in Atlanta at the time, I'm going to different dealerships. I'm calling all types of dealerships. And this is before GPS was just a thing that's on your phone. So I'm printing out like maps and stuff to navigate.
Come on. Come on.
And by the way, this is in my opinion, this is not even that long ago. This was 2008. You know what I'm saying? Like when I got to school. So I remember though making a trip to the computer lab on campus because I would still spend time on campus, using those resources available to me. And I remember I was in a rush to go to the computer lab to print out these directions to go to dealership number 10 to go see if they got something I can afford, right? Yeah. And as I get into the computer lab, I was stopped or interrupted by an evening degree student who I never had classes with, only saw her in passing. She was a much older woman, you know what I mean? And I remember like the pivot point where I'm like, I really don't have time to talk right now. In my head, I'm like, I really don't have time to talk to her right now. So I'm hoping this conversation is like, quick, but in me just stopping for a moment to, like you said, just say hello. This, she ends up asking me where I'm headed. And her asking me what I was about to do, and then me just sharing with her, like, hey, I'm about to go check out these vehicles. I'm trying to buy a car. She said, oh, I know someone who sells cars.
Come on.
And I'm like, okay. She says, hold on a second. She calls him on the spot.
Yes, sir.
And says whatever she says to him. And she's like, well, all you got to do is go to the dealership and he'll take care of you. And I'm like, we are in Buckhead at this point, and his dealership is in Marietta. I'm like, I would love to
have a car.
Yeah, I can't get there. I don't have cars. Bro, when I tell you, this man left his dealership in Marietta, drove to come pick me up from school, then drove me to his dealership. I spent a few hours there, bro, and I drove myself home.
Come on, man.
You know what I'm saying? And to your point, it was just from taking that moment and not missing my blessing and walking through that door.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that was my first car. And that car took me for the next 6 years. You know what I'm saying? That was my car, bro.
That is a fantastic story, Chris.
Man, I wish I could remember her name, you know what I'm saying, so I could look her up, but I'm glad that I can at least like share this experience, and hopefully this whole conversation inspires somebody, to maybe open themselves up a little bit more as they are out in the world approaching these doors, walking by.
My thing is this, man. we have so much more in common than we don't, than things that we don't have in common. And so, why are we going through things alone? Why are we, I could get deep. I'm that guy. I get a little, carried away when it comes to the conditioning and programming of our minds.
Bro, me too. Let's talk.
So, I mean, we've literally been programmed to be scared of one another in public. And I'm a Black man, so I'm gonna take the liberty to speak for Black men. We've been conditioned to not unite. What was it? The Willie Lynch letter.
Oh man.
You take the biggest one, grab him publicly in front of the rest of them, and you take everything away from him, and you emasculate him, and the rest of them line up. And from that point on, man, that system that was put in place is operating exactly as it was designed to. And now I've never met this man before, but because I encounter him, gas station, store, amusement park, whatever, I can't say what's up. I can't salute first. I can't make eye contact. I definitely can't have a conversation about collaboration. None of it. I can't even trust him because the system has conditioned us this way. And that's one of the things that hurts my heart, bro. And that is another thing that drives me, man. I'm the guy, I'm okay being peculiar. And that's one thing as a leader, we have to be okay being peculiar because everybody's not born to lead. Everybody's not going to lead. But you have to do the different things to get a different result. And so I'm the guy who literally will strike up the conversation with, I don't meet a stranger. Like, I'm the guy who can find common ground with the 80-year-old white man or, the 15-year-old Chinese kid. Like, no matter who it is, bro, there's something that we can find in common with every single person. I just have this love inside of me for people who look like me, our demographic, Black men, because I know, number one, the deck is stacked against us. And I just want to be a light, man. Little old broken, traumatized me. I want to be a light to say, hey, bro, these are the things that I've overcome. I know you got your stuff with you. Let's put that down for a second and let's think about the future. Yeah.
That's real, man. That's real. And I feel like that's something that you and I have in common too, man. Because I've felt that way for a while, and it's reflected in the different friendships that I have. It's something that I'm very proud of too. Being able to go into different environments and feel comfortable going there. You know what I mean? Like, I've always had like friends in my hood and also outside of my hood, you know what I'm saying? And I kind of operate in a space where I feel like I'm good everywhere, as far as different types of environments. And I think it's important to have people like us, out here as well to promote that. I think of like some family members I have who are the opposite, and in some cases I've been able to like open their minds and expose them to some things, even if it's something as simple as like a restaurant that's on the other side of town that they would have never gone to. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Man, I appreciate this conversation big time, bro. I have chills right now, like just moving through me, just feeling just moved from this whole exchange, man.
Dope. I do as well, man. I just it really breaks me down, man, when I think about how much better, society could be and how easy it is to get there. Like, it sounds like a pipe dream, bro. We could really make the world a better place just by simply being kind to each other. Like, you don't owe me anything. I don't owe you anything. What does it take for us to just be gentle and kind with each other? And, these are words that men definitely don't use in conversation.
Yeah, you use two of them in the same sentence.
What?
Gentle and
Boy, this dude is soft. He talking about kindness and gentleness. But, I mean, bro, like, legitimately, bro, like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. You got neighbors that have lived across the street for years, never spoken, never said hello, friend. How in the hell are you going to affect the world and you don't know your neighbor's name?
It's scary, bro. And oh man, like that in itself, like I think about the different environments I lived in, and I grew up in public housing.
Yeah. Come on.
And in New York City. So, our buildings are incredibly vertical. You know what I'm saying?
Bingo.
Like 20,
right.
30 flights. And then you have A through Z on your floor as far as apartments. You know what I'm saying? So we're used to having somebody above you, under you, to the left of you, to the right of you. And that same mentality is in place still. It's like I grew up where we didn't have friends coming over to the crib. You know what I'm saying? Like we had to go play with our friends outside. And I realized, it was my mom's way of protecting, the sanctuary.
Yes, sir.
At the same time, it definitely impacted the types of friendships, or the levels of friendships you could have, having those barriers up.
That's good. That's good. Stay there.
Man, so it's like, that alone, it's like, it just creates such a divide. And then you think about how the projects are set up, period, bars on the windows. And then you look at what a prison looks like, very similar, you know what I mean? And then the mindset of, it's me against the world. So I can't really, or not can't, but it sets you up against your neighbors, and you don't know who your neighbors are. Like I grew up in the building that had 25 stories and I didn't know a lot about neighbors. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see a lot of them either. If they weren't kids outside playing with us, then a lot of times I wouldn't recognize them if we were standing a block away. You know what I'm saying? And that's scary.
Yeah, because you can't identify your allies or your enemies. How about that?
Exactly. And what's crazy when I recognized that, in New York back in I think 2003, maybe. No, not 2003. Had to be earlier than that. But anyway, there was a blackout. Okay. The couple blackouts. It actually was a Northeast blackout. So it was more than just New York.
Wow.
But no electricity, so now we all exposed,
Right.
And we don't know each other. And we've been living in this building for all these years. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
And that's, man, it's crazy to think about that.
So it raises the question, if this is so simple, gentleness and kindness, where's the leadership in the country? Like never in the history of 46 presidents or whatever, 45, 46, never in the history of 46 presidents has there been an initiative to befriend people.
Only during election season.
Right.
Yeah, so, and that's sad, man,
Oh, man. Now, from the outside looking in, 9/11, everybody was friendly in New York right after 9/11. But how soon after that did it go back to
status quo, right?
Jesus.
Man, let me tell you, I will say what an example you brought up, bro, because for one, like I'm gonna need a whole episode for 9/11 by itself. Just from my proximity to that event, you know what I mean? Like my high school was located across the street from the Twin Towers.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I was a sophomore in high school, you know what I mean? And
wow.
Bruh, talk about trauma, right? Talk about trauma.
Wow.
And potential asbestos poisoning, which is bro, like a real thing. Like it's something I never followed up on, but
Yeah.
man, like when I talk about the experience of that, man, it's like sticking on topic. I will say the immediate impact was I do feel like it brought the world together for a moment. For a moment, you know what I'm saying? It was good to feel that. Fortunately, it was based around loss because so many people lost friends, family members, co-workers, you know what I'm saying, to the unfortunate events of that day.
Yeah, man.
But to your point, man, it feels like almost immediate. We just got back to me against, everybody else.
So staying on subject, I remember where I was during the 9/11. I remember where I was when the towers fell. I also remember vividly where I was when the O.J. Simpson verdict was announced. And there's a couple of cases where I feel like the Black community was really united for a moment. Rodney King was one of them, and O.J. Simpson was another one of them. And then shortly thereafter, status quo, back to the normal programming. And I really feel like we need to keep that same energy. And it also may play a part into why the ratio of just verdicts versus non-just verdicts or unjust verdicts, because we can go there. There's I remember watching Judas and the Black Messiah, and I'm not, again, grew up in these bubbles, small country town, private school. One thing that wasn't talked about in my home was what was going on in society. I'm a 70s baby, a late 70s baby. So what was never discussed in my home, one of the things was what happens to our Black leaders. Malcolm X, Dr. King, Fred Hampton, and so on and so forth. And so just, unpacking that was a lot. Like my parents were so beat down by the system or whatever was going on that they couldn't even articulate it to us. And so just, it's unfortunate, man, but I remember watching Judas and the Black Messiah, and Hoover, who was director of the FBI, there's a quote in the movie where he said, he's talking to the entire FBI organization. He's the director. And I remember the quote in the movie, he goes, "We must prevent the uprising of a Black Messiah from among them." And so from the other side, there's all this fear that is, it's not warranted. If Black people wanted revenge, that would have been revenge by now. Thank God we want equality and not revenge, because that would have been a whole nother, it'd just be terribly, terribly, terribly ugly. But at any rate, I think that it's a ploy to keep us down, for lack of a better term, by the justices not coming forth on all of these verdicts of unarmed Black people who are murdered by the police. And because there was such a celebration, during I don't know why I said Rodney King, but the O.J. Simpsons and there's these things that, Rodney King is another, these things that unify us. I think there's an agenda, if I may, to keep us from celebrating life in general. Again, it goes back to the system, man. It's almost 500 years old, and it's working better than it was.
Absolutely.
If their ancestors knew it was working this well, boy, they'd want to come back and get some of this. Not only are the Negroes losing, but boy,
We don't have to. We don't have to put
Billions on
no
their back.
chains on them. Yeah, we ain't got to put chains on them. You know,
Got stains on their minds, baby.
man,
We done gave them social media. We got them all.
it's sick, man. And you mentioned the Willie Lynch letter earlier, man, and I want to say I might have been in college when I stumbled across it, or just fresh out, and man, it blew my mind to see that someone and some people actually put the work in place to devise such a strategy. You know what I mean? That went beyond physical, like warfare, like psychological, you know what I'm saying? And in a way to assure that certain people stayed in a certain place, you know what I mean, in this world, like not in this city, state, country, like in the world, man. And it was adopted by some, you know what I'm saying? It was adopted by other parts of the world too, like as this is the blueprint.
Bingo. All over the world, man. All over the world. So crazy. My head has started itching just thinking about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is, man. Bro, man. So, all right. So I've got you here. Once again, let the people know, man, how they can find the next Bro Can We Talk.
Sure,
And
man.
you know, if there's any social media links, drops, anything you want to make, you know, we can instill that here, and you know.
Very good. Yeah. So anybody that's wanting to connect with myself and my lead team, you can shoot us an email over at brocanwetalk@gmail.com. And then on Instagram, we are at BRO _ can we talk. Bro _ can we talk. Our next event is going to be Saturday, November the 6th at 10 a.m. It's going to be at 6646 Suite C, East W.T. Harris Boulevard. That's in Charlotte, North Carolina, 28215. And we'll be there from 10, providing breakfast until about 12:30. I like to do a hard stop, man. Saturdays, that's the other part, man. To be able to get men to come out on a Saturday morning, man. There's so many other places that we could be, and so many other things we could be doing. But to get men on a united front, on one accord, on a Saturday morning, is really big. So Saturday morning, we're typically first Saturday of the month. I will say, 2022, we are planning a 2-day retreat up into the mountains, North Carolina mountains. We want to go up and basically get away, have some outdoor time, but just, change the environment. Also, we're looking into ATVs and places to let off the rifles, boy tings. We are boys. So boys and they toys, we like things that go boom. So
True story.
hey, gentleness and kindness, but we keep them ARs.
You have to, man. That's balance. It's called balance.
Absolutely. So yeah, man. 2022 is going to be a great year for our organization, man, because we're starting to tap into some key pieces and some skill sets and talents. So, one thing about me, man, I not only do I not have a problem sharing the shine, I live to share the shine, bro. Like, I don't want to do all the talking. I don't want to do all the thinking, because I'm not, again, the smartest guy in the room. I'm smart enough to know that I need other people around me. And not all of them are PhDs. I don't need a bunch of PhDs. I need creatives. You know what I mean? I need people who have vision as well, that can tie into my vision. And so I'm just excited, man, about the people that I'm blessed to have on my team. It's brothers that I've yet to meet. And I'm excited that our paths are going to one day cross, and they're going to catch this vision and just run with it. I'd like to see Bro Can We Talk charters across the country, and then one day globally. so many people, man, so many people have said, hey man, you need to do a podcast, or hey man, you need to do panel discussions and conferences. And I'm like, hey, it's coming. It's coming. But I just believe, man, if I keep my my intentions right, the right people will come, the resources will come, and then we'll be able to accomplish some of those things, man. So we are in the process of, we're registered with the state, but we're in the process of getting our 501c3, and that's going to be big. That's going to open up a lot of doors, man, to help the community out. So I'm excited, Chris. I'm excited. And again, man, I want to shout out to you and Face2Face radio show for allowing me the time and the place to talk about the things that we have going on, man. So salute.
Man, most definitely. And I thank you. Thank you for sharing that, with our listeners here. I appreciate it. It's always a positive exchange, when we get together. So I'm full, you know what I'm saying? As I learned in the South, I'm full.
Yeah, same, bro.
Well,
same.
man, thank you once again. And definitely will be looking forward to catching one of your Bro Can We Talks, man. And I'm gonna double check on the 6th too, see what I got going on that morning, because I think it would be a good timing to go and check you out. Is there any RSVP that's necessary for people who want to show up?
Nah, just pull up, man. Just pull up. As we grow, as the numbers start rising some more, we'll have to start looking into some pre-registering, because obviously we don't want to promise everybody a biscuit on a fruit plate, or a bacon egg, whatever we're doing, and then run out. But at this point, no, sir, just show up. And as a matter of fact, man, December, I think that's going to be the 4th. The first Saturday in December is December the 4th. I'm talking to a friend of mine is actually a GM at one of the local bowling alleys. So just to, break up the norm. Again, men, one thing about men, man, we like to do things that have a score. We like things that have a ball, like
competition. Yeah.
We love competition. We like to talk a little smack. So we're gonna get out and knock down some bowling pins, man, in December. So stay tuned for that as well.
I love it, man. Hey, Damon, it's been real, bro. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yes, sir.
I'll talk to you real soon, man. God bless you.
Bless you as well, friend, and we'll talk, man. All right.
Thanks, man.
Luke.